What's going on?
What's going on, John? I've aged.
Are we still doing a show?
I've aged a little bit. This is episode 3799. What episode is this? 96 now.
96. Get your kicks on episode 96.
Hey, kids.
I don't think you're going to get many kicks out of this one, but this is Ed Uncle Hat, and you're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song with your hosts, John and Phil. They're going to talk a little bit, have a beverage, and then they're going to write an original song about something that they talked about, and not in that order. Anyway, here we go.
It's all fun, legal kicks.
I'll kick you.
Well, yeah.
And we're both sidekicks. The show doesn't have a main host. It's just we're both sidekicks. So there you go.
Okay. Well, nothing has happened.
Oh, I don't know. So much has happened.
What hasn't happened?
We're recording less frequently, as some people might have noticed.
Maybe. I think they stopped wondering. I don't know.
It just pops up and, it's a new one randomly.
Glenda has lost faith in us, I think.
Maybe. Well, she's got a lot going on. Everyone's got a lot going on,
Do they?
Maybe she's saving up some episodes for her next drive to Lusk.
To Lusk, yes.
Or
Mule Creek Junction.
Or through Lusk to get to.
You never... I stayed overnight once in Lusk, I think.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Was there a blizzard or something?
No, I was on a music tour.
Oh, okay. Did you do some
Why else would you do that?
Did you do some kind of tour of the state or just
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was involved with something like that. And
that's why when somebody, I forget who, doesn't matter, mentioned they were driving around out west and they stopped through Thermopolis, Wyoming.
Ooh.
And asked if I'd ever heard of it because I think they knew I'd gone to school there in the state of Wyoming. And I said, but as a matter of fact, yes, I have. Does it still stink? Pretty much.
That's on their billboard when you come into town. Still stinks.
Yep, stinking since 1852.
Since we found oil or whatever.
Yeah, geothermal.
Well,
I love the Thermopolis.
That's wonderful. Well, Wyoming, yeah, they've got a lot of geothermal activity. So it wasn't oil. It was actually probably sulfur or something.
Yep, that's the stink.
Well, we've never talked about touring Western states, have we? I was in a
maybe not.
I was in a touring show called South Dakota Proud.
You mentioned that with some of your SDSU brethren.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever talked about it as a topic. Not that I need to. I sort of blocked it out, and maybe I don't remember.
No, if anybody's interested in that, leave us a comment.
or in any kind of, well, I don't know. Fine.
All right. What are you?
We're
what are you
doing
drinking?
topics by poll.
Damn it.
No, won't have any topics. I'm drinking a gin and tonic, which I think I have a pattern of having these at the end of summer, because I think
At the end.
Yeah, because I think I kind of forget, hey, that's a wonderful summer drink. There were some summers where I drank quite a few, sure. But I think lately I just kind of forget about it. And then, summer's almost over. I don't do this consciously, of course. But I think subconsciously I'm like, I better get a gin and tonic in before. Not that you can't have them in winter, but. Fortunately, this year, the summer hung on a long time. It's October something. No, it's not quite.
It's still going because it's like 80 something degrees.
I guess it's not October quite yet.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. For those, not that we should mention what day we're recording this, because who knows when it'll come out. But hopefully it won't be as long as the last one. That's what I'm having, and I'm sticking to it.
No, what kind of gin?
What
kind of tonic?
I like that Tanqueray, I guess, but this one, sometimes I get that Prairie Island. No,
It's made with radioactive water.
Isotopes.
Isotopes.
No, prairie organic. Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Is there more to it? Is it just prairie organic gin, or is it
I
prairie
think that's
something?
what they make a vodka as well. It's Minnesota. Dean Phillips' family makes it.
Oh no, that guy
Well, at least he's retiring and is going to go back to doing whatever he does.
teaching. I'm just kidding. I don't know what he was. He was a drug lord. No, he's going to make the border safe. I don't think he'll be in the next administration, but you never know.
No, he's probably still running his Phillips brand. They make a lot of stuff. They're big.
Yeah, I wasn't when he ran against Biden. I was it's like I couldn't quite figure out what the point was, and then he decided not to run again. I don't know if it was to focus on the campaign or if he just was. Maybe he's just tired of being in the House of Representatives. Or
Yeah, he must have decided it was time to get out of there and didn't. There wasn't a good opportunity. Dean Phillips, if people don't remember, he is currently, for a short time remaining, a congressman here in Minnesota in kind of the western part of the Twin Cities. The thing that was notable, besides that he's part of a I don't know an alcohol family.
Phillips vodka.
If you ever see them, they're on a lot of stuff. They
lower shelf.
Often, yeah. Although Prairie is kind of a mid, it's higher quality.
Yeah.
So they branched out, and he challenged a longstanding sitting Republican and flipped the district back in 2018, I think.
Yeah, and used some of his own money too, I'm sure.
It helps as usual if you have money. And he did it by being moderate and all that stuff, which is cool. But of course, he apparently didn't want to stay in there and decided he was going to try and make a point by trying to primary Joe Biden to get him to drop out.
Yeah,
and
which seems somewhat prescient now, but
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't quite. He wasn't just there to be a spoiler. He had a point to make. But I think it's pretty questionable whether it was the right thing to do.
No, but looking back, what the hell?
But you know what he did? He did not do is he didn't change his affiliation to being independent and run anyway, like RFK Jr.
Yeah.
So it's relative, but anyway, that's Dean Phillips.
I think that's just as a testament that drinking's okay, but maybe brainworms aren't. I don't know. So Dean Phillips vodka helps get rid of the brainworms. Now,
I like gin and tonics all year, but they are especially tasty in the summer.
Yeah.
Or in a warm fall,
which we're having now. What are you drinking?
Oh, what's your tonic? What do you like?
Oh, no, I get that kind you do. That the Fever Tree.
Fever Tree, yeah.
Good stuff.
The Q brand is also decent.
Oh, that's right.
Sometimes I will just get whichever one's on sale.
Yeah. The last time I was at Target, they didn't have. I remember Q. That's good stuff.
They're good.
They're both good.
Yeah. So I am drinking some bourbon today on ice. And it's made by this company called Woodinville.
Woodinville?
Woodin.
Oh, no.
Ville.
Trick spelling.
And it is made in Washington State. It's kind of a craft. And they can't be that small because they distribute in a lot of states. And I bought this at a grocery store, so it's not particularly obscure, but I'd seen this stuff around. It is a pot still bourbon.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different. It is, I don't know the age. It's probably 3 to 4 years old.
Okay.
It is finished in port casks, so it's got a little extra port wine finish going on.
At first, I thought you said pork.
Yeah. It's strained through some pork rinds.
Well, you get that kind of smoky flavor that way.
Yeah. Although people do bacon old fashions and all that stuff, so it's not that. But I don't know
No.
if you'd want to have it actually, anyway.
I don't recommend putting a pork rind in a drink because it would probably rehydrate and become pigskin again.
Oh, God.
Oh, there's this weird film on top of my drink.
This is decent. It's a little sweet, although it tastes good on ice. The reason I bought it, honestly, is
I was going to
because-
say, how did you find? I had never heard of this thing.
Yeah, I had seen it around. It's kind of in that category of bourbons and ryes, and they have other types too. That is typically in the $40-ish range, so it's
Sure.
a little bit above mid shelf. It's not super duper expensive, but it's definitely, it's not that cheap. It's in that almost craft category, and so often I don't buy these unless I've seen it somewhere or I read about it, whatever, because there are so many of them, and they're, again,
Well, gee, yeah.
$40 for a bourbon. It's got to be really good, and there's a lot of them out there. And this one, I was in a grocery store liquor department, and they had it, close out half off. So it was like $21.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
And so I thought, well, for that, that I'm sure it's worth that much. So I tried
Yeah,
it.
probably. And you have something to talk about on the show.
Yeah, and it ties into something I'll probably bring up after we talk about something else. Is kind of the state of the whiskey market,
Yeah.
which I've been reading interesting things about, and this ties into that a little bit,
Well,
where there are some interesting trends.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about this pot stilling thing too. So, I know they legalized pot stilling in Minnesota recently.
Yeah,
I've been having some pot smelling lately. My goodness, it's everywhere.
it really is everywhere. Yeah. Some people don't enjoy it,
Well,
which I understand.
sometimes it reminds me of driving down the interstate or the highway and that dead skunk smell sometimes.
Driving down the highway.
Dead skunk in Meadow Road. Yeah, well,
So there, that's what I have. It's
But
just
you-
that
but you-
on a big ice cube.
you don't want to talk about that right now?
Oh, okay. If I was giving you a chance to.
Well, I
Talk
was just
about
going to
something
say, and this is it's way too early to take a break, but I probably need another beverage already. Kris
Oh, no.
Kristofferson passed away, so I thought we should
Yeah.
mention that.
Yeah, we should.
I at least two of my aunts had major crushes on him.
I think a lot of people did
Yeah, I'm sure.
back in the day.
Well, he had that kind of a different kind of charisma. I don't know quite. I know they say outlaw country and all that, and the poet and the outlaw poet and the outlaw, and but it in his acting, of course, he got into that, and I guess he dated Barbra Streisand for a while, so that was, I don't know how that went, but they seem like an odd couple, but who knows. One of my earliest memories, and it may be a false memory, but one of my earliest memories is I was in a field and there was like hippies and that kind of thing, and there were like sheets, white sheets, not a labyrinth exactly, but just they made the rooms for like changing rooms or something like that. It was like maybe an outdoor music festival, and I walked. I was wandering. I probably escaped my parents, as I often did, and this may not be a real memory. I asked my dad, and he said, well, I don't remember that, but so maybe it was a memory of an early dream. But anyway, I was wandering in this field and came upon Kris Kristofferson, and he I don't know, I don't remember a conversation exactly, but something about where'd you come from or whatever, that kind of thing. Now, I asked my dad last year, no, maybe it's the year before, when we were out in Rapid, and he said, I don't remember that. Now the interesting thing though, my dad was a photographer in the 70s, and he has a picture of, he took a really cool picture of Kris Kristofferson, either on stage or backstage or something. So maybe, I don't think I was with him then. My dad wouldn't have taken me to one of these weird concerts. Who knows? Memories are weird. And like I said, maybe it was a memory of a dream. So,
Memory of a dream.
kind of an odd thing to dream about, as a like one of my very first memories is of Kris Kristofferson, and it may have never happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah. So he
have you seen a lot of his films?
Connection. No, I haven't. My well, I probably have seen more of them than most people, but he was in a sci-fi one that
Oh, you're right.
my Aunt Dina really liked, and I can't remember. I did no research for this, of course, topic, because he just died. I didn't have time. But yeah, he was like 88. But I've been meaning, if I haven't seen that sci-fi, which I probably have, I've been thinking about rewatching that. And Convoy, of course. I mean, they made a movie out of that song. So.
Wait, he didn't do Convoy, did he?
No, he was in the movie of it.
Oh, okay. It's not.
No, he did, and he did a movie adaptation of that song. They turned it into a movie, and
I see.
I probably haven't seen it since the 70s, but I think they didn't have much of a wardrobe budget because they couldn't get him a shirt. He just didn't have a shirt the whole movie. It was like Iggy Pop or something. You go into Iggy Pop's wardrobe and closet, and why don't you have any shirts? What's wrong with you? Even now.
Shirts.
No. Fine. And then he was in The Highwaymen with Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. And I probably know more about Kris Kristofferson than you, and that's okay.
No, I think you do. I cheated and looked on the Wikipedia page for his movies, and he was in more stuff than I remember.
He was in a lot of stuff. Yeah, Star is Born. Isn't that the one he got
with Barbara Streisand?
He got a Golden Globes for that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One interesting a couple interesting movies he did was, of course, the very famous Heaven's Gate.
Oh, right.
Which has its own kind of thing attached to it, and of course, Pat Jarrett and Billy the Kid.
Oh, yeah.
There's a new edition of it. Criterion is I think just put out. That's got some
how timely
different cuts of it out and things like that, because that's one of those movies. That's Sam Peckinpah who directed that. It's one of those ones that had kind of a chopped up release edit to it, and so that's another one I've heard that I've been really wanting to watch that he did back in the 1990s. I want to say. Yeah. I should cut all of this out.
Well, the part where you're reading, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
No, what? Look up while you're here. Look up the sci-fi one too. It's a time traveler thing or something, maybe, or Space Gate, or I don't know. I'm gonna get a drink.
Yep, do it.
Doodaloo, 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 doodaloo. Taking a break.
Taking a break. Break it down. Taking a break. Break it down.
It's that time again.
I'm back.
Yay! I finally figured out what.
Oh.
Yeah, he had, so his big noticeable ones.
You mean bigger than Convoy?
Oh. Well, at the time, maybe not. No, he was also in Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. Of course, he's in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. That's a big one.
Oh, yeah. See, he was in some good stuff. Even if you weren't into the music, You
Yeah.
probably would like some of the movies.
The one that I was really interested in seeing, it's a later one, and it's called Lone Star.
Yeah.
That's a John Sayles film from 1996. And,
Okay, right.
I've heard it's a great movie, and Kristofferson has one of the leads in that.
Well, maybe we can watch that for the next episode.
Yeah, and he's also in Blade. Do you remember that? The Wesley Snipes movie?
Oh, right. Was he a bad guy or something?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I never saw that movie. I should watch that.
The original Blade is actually pretty good.
Well, I know. That's what was on my list to see because Kris Kristofferson was in it, and then I forgot.
And he was in Big Top Pee Wee.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, he had a good scene in that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what sci-fi movie you're talking about.
Oh, it was like a Space Gates thing or Time Gates or something. Or no, was it one of those things where he was in an airplane and then showed up in the future?
Oh, it's Millennium.
Yeah, that's it.
1989. I thought it was earlier. Okay.
No,
Yeah, Cheryl Ladd's in it too.
Yeah, well, isn't she from South Dakota?
Isn't that the gal from Dukes of Hazzard that you're thinking of?
Well,
or are there more than one South Dakota 70s hot woman?
wait, maybe I'm confused with that gal that was in WKRP.
Oh, Lonnie Anderson?
Yeah, Louis Anderson's sister. She dated Dean Phillips.
Didn't Louis Anderson die recently too?
Oh, probably. I don't know if recently.
This is terrible.
I don't know if it's recently. And now our new spin-off podcast, Who Died?
That'll get butts in the seats.
Ears in the
Okay, well,
ears in the buds.
enough of that. He did a lot of stuff.
He had an interesting life. That's for sure. He had a long life, a good life, wild.
And it sounds like he was an okay guy too.
Yeah, there's
Doesn't
kind of a famous story about him. Sinead O'Connor, shortly after her little episode on Saturday Night Live, I don't know, she ripped up a picture of the Pope or something.
Yeah, very famously.
And it was like her concert after that. I don't know what they were booing her and stuff like that, and he came out and talked to her for a while, and so I don't know. So I said something like, "Don't listen to the bastards" or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And it just really encourages her to keep going. So
Okay, that's cool.
he's a good guy.
Okay.
And he may have had sex with Barbra Streisand. So speaking of Golden Globes, sorry, I just had to insert a dumb joke there.
That's pretty bad.
That was bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first off, so I don't know. We didn't plan for this as a topic, but maybe it could be a secondary one.
Why not?
Not that we ever spend a lot of time in planning, but the planning committee is taking a vacation. But this pot stilling thing, I mean, I kind of know what it is. I mean that, like in the copper pots and stuff like that.
Versus a column still, you mean?
Well, I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, they're.
And then, so do they both do that, and then they put it in different barrels, so they all start that way, or is there a different? Is there another way?
Traditionally, I mean, you can make whiskey in either a pot still or a column still.
All right.
I mean,
There's no mysterious third option.
well, there's
a
probably
bathtub.
some obscure. Back in the Revolutionary days,
Sure,
people
socks.
use this. There's some weird things people are rediscovering and messing around with, but
Because you have to distill it somehow, so it goes from one tank to another. I don't know.
and it has all these stages where it's
Yeah.
heated up and the vapor gets out and all that stuff, and I'm really not explaining it very well, but
This is the Reader's Digest version.
But if you ever see one, they're very easy to tell apart because a pot still looks like a big, wide, pot. There's a reason they're called that.
And they kind of have the curly Q things coming out of it, right?
Yes. Whereas a column still is really tall with a whole bunch of little, little sections all the way up. It's very tall.
So like when we went to, well, okay, so most of the ones we've been to were column still probably.
That's the most common. They're faster. I think they're less expensive to manufacture.
Just huge bulk.
Yeah, I mean most grain whiskey is and vodka and all that other stuff is made in a column still.
Sure. Okay.
And so traditionally a lot of bourbon and rye is made in them too.
Okay.
Whereas malted barley whiskey like Scotch is made in a pot still.
Yeah.
Now people have been mixing it up, of course, and making bourbon in pot stills and doing it's you can kind of do it any way you like.
Well, and people like to see what happens if you try this recipe this way or just
yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the pot still is a longer process.
Ah, okay.
For one thing.
It's artisanal.
But that's kind of the very broad outline of what the difference is.
All right.
So, I'll talk briefly about the whiskey thing that I was going to mention.
The whiskey industry?
So I follow a few people who are in the business, and I read lots of random people's posts on Reddit, and very reliable sources.
You did your own research.
But it does tie in with some anecdotal observations I've made too. And one of the things that I've noticed that in that especially places that are not like super whiskey nerd type stores, there are much bigger discounts being done on fancy whiskey. And some of it's Scotch, but it's especially true on American whiskey. One of the things that I see a lot of is that there are these things called kind of single barrel programs that's what liquor stores will do. So they'll buy an entire barrel full of, say, bourbon.
Well, sure. Even the little one on the corner that I go to sometimes, they have their own.
The distilleries will. It's a program you can do. You just have to basically, agree to so many bottles from a certain barrel, and a lot of times you can go to the distillery and pick and sample a bunch of them and say, I like this one better.
Yeah,
I'll buy this. And
so it's
and
sort
then
of customized.
And then you get X many, a few hundred bottles usually from that barrel.
They've had these for quite a while at the corner store.
Yep, that's a thing, and
it's a little pricey. I haven't tried it.
They're often, again, single barrel means that it'll have a little bit more character to it because it hasn't been blended together with other barrels to make. Say, Knob Creek's a good example, right? So standard issue Knob Creek bourbon is made from, when they make it, they, like a lot of things, they blend different barrels together to make it consistent.
And maybe some just regular, depending on the quality, just some regular grain alcohol.
Well, I mean, bourbon is grain alcohol. That's Scotch.
Wow.
It gets more funky with Scotch, but with bourbon, if it's called bourbon, it has to be bourbon. They can't mess around with it.
Oh, okay.
So Knob Creek will do that, but if you buy a single barrel version of Knob Creek, it will be a little different because it's just from. So if you can imagine a giant warehouse sitting in Kentucky, full of aging wooden barrels of Knob Creek.
Yeah.
And they're in different parts of the warehouse. Some of them gets hotter, some will get cooler. There's lots of environmental aspects, and of course each barrel is slightly different, even though they're made from white American oak and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're all going to vary a little bit depending on which floor of the what they call the rick house.
Yeah.
Hi, Rick. That they do, and
Rick Steves.
So, certain flavors will come out more depending on what part of the warehouse it's from. And so if you say, I really like this character, it's got more wood, or it's sweeter, it's hotter, whatever it is. And you say, I like this particular flavor of this particular bourbon from this barrel. And then you get that's all you get. It's not blended together to even it out or whatever.
Sure.
And so, let's just say XYZ liquors. They commit to buying an entire run of the entire barrel. And then it's they pick it out. They, I assume, send a bunch of money, and Jim Beam Knob Creek ships them all the bottles from that once they bottle it.
Wow. Special
And then
labels.
they put their fancy label on it. It's often done at cask strength. That's the other difference.
Oh, okay, nice.
Most of the time, a single barrel is going to be a cask strength because it's for whiskey nerds. They're the ones into this stuff, so they want it. Basically, all they do is maybe run it through a mesh strainer just to get all the little pieces of wood out of it. But they're supposedly not. They're not proofing it down with water or anything like that. So that's what you get. And they're all a little bit different. What seems to have happened is that when bourbon got really trendy people bought a ton of it during pandemic time.
Sure.
And things like Buffalo Trace and all the trendy bourbons got hard to get and expensive.
Yeah, Eagle.
Everybody said, we got to make more. And they made a ton. You could argue they made too much. And then by now there's lots and lots of supply, and then at the same time people are buying less alcohol,
Right.
and there's just too many single barrel or store pick or whatever you want to call it out there. Every single store has their own little store picks of different blends.
Oh.
And so they sit on the shelf, and then I'm at a grocery store and they're marked down half price.
Yeah, they haven't marked down theirs yet at the my quarter place.
Yeah, and they may need to, if they're a smaller store, they might not be able to take a loss on it like that.
Yeah, I could probably talk to the owner and say, I want to try this, but I don't want to spend that much.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they'll give samples out to get people to buy it. That's what a lot of places do.
Yeah, they don't do much samples at this place.
Yeah, well, that's a problem, and so there's so I've seen this and I never used to see fancy bourbon marked down like this. I mean, I was seeing, say, a $60 bottle marked down, 40% off or something like that. It's a big discount.
I'm
Never
gonna
used
have to
to
keep
see
my
that.
eye out. I haven't seen this yet, but
And
I haven't been
again,
shopping
this is
for a while
anecdotal.
either.
I've seen it in a couple of grocery stores. They're usually in places that are not, big places you normally get high-end whiskey at.
Okay, all right.
So anecdotally, I started seeing this and thought, oh, interesting. There must be a bit of a slowdown because this wouldn't be happening. And then I start reading some kind of anecdotes from people who work in the industry and saying, yeah, sales are down. And then an article I probably forwarded you from this guy who writes a blog who works for one of the really big California distributors. They buy a lot of stuff. And he said he's been hearing from people in the industry that they've just made too much of it. And there's lots that a lot of the kind of the wholesalers are trying to get rid of barrels and barrels that they have, that have been just sitting there.
Oh, wow.
And that they're auctioning some of it off, and there's and it's stuff. It's not Blanton's, it's not Eagle Rare or something like that.
No.
It's often made at that place that Indiana distillery called MGP.
Sure.
That makes a lot of stuff, and a lot of it's probably decent quality whiskey, but there's just too damn much of it. And if you ever go to a store with a lot of selection, there's a ton of American whiskey on the shelf.
All right.
And nobody has enough time to try it all.
Well, and even unless it was really
It's just-
marked
there's
down,
too much.
I'd be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I often would just kind
It's
of
a
ignore
risk.
it because unless you had there's just too much. You have to really have a reason to go for it.
I suppose you could look online real quick while you're at the store and say.
And sometimes I do that. And
Sure.
there's an awful lot of stuff that is good, but not that good. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
Like this stuff I'm drinking right now falls into that category.
Yeah.
It's very, very decent, and again, but at full price, it doesn't really stand out.
Yeah. No.
And that's kind of a problem when there's a ton of it on the market and overall the market is shrinking.
No.
And Scotch is seeing a little bit of this too. So I think I've read reports that the sales are overall down in the Scotch whiskey industry. And I think they got a little too greedy.
Yeah.
And I mean, prices on Scotch, if you're into Scotch, have really gone up a lot. And it's not just because of the Trump tariffs,
Yeah.
which are no longer in place, but of course the price didn't go down. and of course, Scotch got popular even before Trump.
Yeah.
And so they were cranking out more of it. And the thing that you have to remember, whiskey isn't this super rare commodity. You can make a lot. There's a lot of whiskey out there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it might take a few years.
There is definitely. I mean, I think it's just bourbon and rye are shorter turnaround time due to the fact that they don't age them as long.
Sure.
And so we're seeing that first, but I think Scotch is also going to get there as well.
All right. Well,
We'll see. I mean, Scotch still has a healthy market. A lot of people still buy it, but what I've always come down to is that if it's between an expensive bottle of bourbon and an expensive bottle of Scotch, I know which one I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
So that there it is. I don't want to go on too long about it, but it's interesting, and it sometimes pays to keep your eye out for things because there are deals out there.
And try some of these, unusual places to find whiskey, I suppose, too. Poke around.
Actually, the last couple of really big deals I've gotten have been at Cub Foods and Hy-Vee, which are grocery stores.
Sure.
And they're not. It's just like, and maybe that's one reason they're marked down so much is because whiskey nerds are not usually looking there.
Right.
So there.
Well, at the corner place I go to, usually people are coming out of there with, cases of some type of canned beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe tequila. There's a lot of, tequila folks around here.
Yeah.
So there. What
So
else
there.
is going on? Let's see. Fall is almost starting. I think it'll hit us pretty soon here. Some of the leaves are starting to change.
I'm wondering if we're going to have another year like last year where it just didn't snow much and it was warm all the time, or whether we're going to get socked with these big polar vortexes and blizzards.
Sock it to me.
I probably last year could have gotten away with not even using my snowblower at all. But
I could have done it too. Maybe
I felt I needed
used
to
it twice or three times.
get it out there to keep, run it. I should check on it before this winter.
Yes.
I usually change the oil and all that, but
You got to change that oil.
even if you don't use it,
Yeah.
I need to change my oil. People. Speaking of Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, that's right. So, what's funny is I apologize for jumping back over to Kris Kristofferson, but maybe compared to Trump, it's a break.
Yeah, I'd rather talk about that.
Did you know? You mentioned the movie Convoy.
Yeah.
Did you realize that Sam Peckinpah directed Convoy? I didn't know that. Must have been right before he.
That was for a check.
Yeah. The other thing is, again,
I'm going to have to watch that now again.
Wikipedia, so whatever, right? But the original cut of Convoy was 220 minutes.
Holy shit. What?
I mean,
So somewhere there's a director's cut of Convoy. The song was pretty long. I mean, but still.
yeah, and the release time is 111 minutes, which seems pretty long too. for a movie about rubber duck.
You think they could have got that down to 90?
Oh yeah, that's an 85 minute.
Wow.
So anyway, there's your fun fact.
It's like, there must be a 15-minute scene with him just walking around without a shirt on.
Probably.
Whatever.
or fixing his truck.
The director's cut. 2 hours and 20 minutes of Convoy.
Boy,
That's out there.
that might be. Yeah.
What have you been watching? You been watching anything?
Well, speaking of movies, we decided to watch something for this episode,
We did.
and we managed to pull it off. And it's also a good
We're going
Halloween. Thing.
Yeah, we're going from spirits to souls.
Wah, wah. Yes, it's the 1962 movie Carnival of Souls.
Yeah,
That's what we decided to watch. I had seen it before, but I think, Phil, you had not, right?
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah, interesting movie. We'll put a link to it in the notes.
Definitely.
What did you think? I could give you a little background, but
Well, yeah, without any background, just watching it, it was creepy. The organ music got a little old, but
yeah,
but yeah, it kind of reminded me. It was sort of like a longer sort of Twilight Zone sort of thing.
absolutely. Yeah,
But and actually, I don't know if you've ever watched that movie. It's based on a short story by Ambrose Bierce. But Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge.
yeah, that has a lot in common with that.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's a genre for that, but it's kind of and here's a spoiler alert. If so, I don't know if you need to fast forward it, but it's kind of the same idea of there's kind of a person appears to be in a situation where they're going to be killed or die, and then they somehow survive, and things happen, and then you find out that no, actually they did die. This just happened while they were dying in their mind, kind of a deal. So if there is a genre for that, I don't know what it's called, near life experiences, but this would fall into that category. And I'm pretty sure, and I don't know the budget of this thing or the history. You have the background, but so my take is I don't know how many of the people in the cast were actually actors. There were, I think there were probably just some people from town. I don't know, but and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And the people that were actors were so the character goes to a boarding house, or not a boarding house, some kind of room for rent place, which is a very nice room. It was huge. It was a palatial. And the actress that plays the owner of this house is odd, and and that guy, the guy across the hall from her is such a greasy weirdo guy, just keeps hitting on her and won't take no for an answer and stuff like that. And I don't need to go into the whole thing, but things come up like she says, yeah, I just don't, I can't really connect to people, and I don't feel like I need to, or I'm just alone or whatever. And well, anyway, I won't go into the whole plot, but what were you going to say? Some background stuff?
So one thing that's interesting about this movie is that it's actually it came out, was made about the same time as the Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge film. So I don't know that one riffed on the other or not.
Yeah, but I mean, the short story was older, but
Yeah, exactly. It's not like this is nobody's ever thought of this before, but I see dead people. The quick background on this one is that it was made by this guy named Herc Harvey.
Is he the guy that played the man?
Yes, he is the creepy guy in the water and stuff like that.
Sort of a zombie.
He's the director also.
Yeah, okay.
And so, but he ran this little company in Kansas that made industrial films, kind of like training here's how you operate the hydraulic lift and those kind of things.
Oh, okay.
And so they
Decided to
cranked
make
out
a real movie.
tons of them, and he decided he was going to make a kind of an artsy film, and it got sort of distributed, but I guess the company that put it out went bankrupt, and it never really got very far. And then people discovered it on late night television.
Yeah, kind of a cult film.
Later on, yeah, exactly. People started because it would show up on the articles I read about it said that we used to see this show up at 1 a.m. on a local TV station on Saturday night.
Yeah,
and it was like, whoa, what is this shit?
Yeah, well, we would have too if we would have found it, but I never.
Weird little black and white movie with this odd pipe organ score and creepy imagery, and it's all black and white and stuff like that, and it's you're right. Most of the cast are non-actors.
Yeah.
And it's very low budget. They found this location in Salt Lake City where they filmed a lot of it. And that weird kind of abandoned amusement park place was a real place.
Yeah,
they just went and shot stuff there.
Well, that was
amazing location just on the shores of the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah,
and
that was cool.
It's very striking, and yeah, it's a cool, creepy, mostly about vibes, and
she's just drawn
atmosphere.
to this what do they call it?
Where they.
Well, they refer to it as. I mean, it went through different things, but they refer to the building as.
It's like a pavilion, they call it, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Or it's it's this kind of this dilapidated, creepy old building on the
like a carnival
shores of the lake. Yeah, part of a carnival, and it's
a huge ballroom. What did you think of that? Watching that scene after playing all these ballroom dances.
Yeah, I know.
Creepy.
Weird. Waltz of the Dead. Yeah, it's remarkably expressive, the way it's shot and edited and everything. For something that these people had never made a movie like this before.
Yeah.
And,
well, the opening credits were even kind of, the names are at angles based on something that's in the image, and it's that was pretty cool. Yeah,
for sure. It has this kind of, again, amateur yet naturalistic acting,
right?
That goes on, and it really works well here, too. And they don't, it's got this. Yeah, you sort of figure out what's going on, but they also do interesting editing tricks with the chronology of the movie too.
Yeah,
and there's weird things like the lead character is a professional church organist
who doesn't really care about going to church. Really, she's just
that's of
job.
Course the funny part. It's like, no, I just do this for my job. and apparently they actually found a factory that makes pipe organ parts to shoot some of it in.
Well, that was cool. That one of the earlier scenes, that huge building with it, and she's just playing this, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so beautiful," and they take a break from work and wander over there to listen to her.
Yeah, it's a really interesting movie, and again, the people or the guy who directed it, I don't think ever did anything else except maybe went back to making these short, little, what they call industrial movies.
Is that I didn't listen to the commentary track. Is that him or somebody else? Have you listened to the commentary track?
I have not. It is him though.
Okay,
and the guy who wrote the screenplay.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. I'm curious. I don't need to watch it again right away, but I'm curious to.
It's a good idea.
I'm curious to watch. I want to listen to that, just because my first thought was, did he ever get to find out, or did he get to hear about the success of it somewhat later.
I think so, because this was
that's good.
Recorded in the 90s or
Yeah. Well, I figured when there's a commentary track and he was on it, I figured he knew about it, but the cult following. So that's good. He's got
in fact, that was
some kind of success.
That was done in 2000, so
okay,
and he was still living. So yeah, it's a cool movie. Go check it out.
The Old Pavilion, that's what they call it.
That's right. It was a real place. So,
well, yeah, that couldn't be built for this kind of budget.
No, yeah, they just found these cool places to shoot things, and
it was. There were a couple times where she would go through this, like there'd be squiggly lines, a little bit subtle, kind of, or ripples, I guess. Maybe she did drown, but so maybe they were ripples, but no one could see her, and she couldn't hear anything.
Right.
And that was pretty creepy. And I mean, weird feeling like, I mean, I never had that feeling exactly, but it's like you just feel really disoriented.
No, it's the opposite. Like, what? Will you stop seeing me?
Well, I mean, you can feel really disoriented, or like, not that you're the only one really there or something, but I'm not saying I feel that strongly as she did, but it was she'd lean on a tree and hear a bird, and then she'd come back. But that was weird. I mean, Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge didn't have any of those kind of hints that maybe this wasn't what was really going on. But
right.
Yeah. So they played with that. That was weird. And the organ music, I mean, I joked about it being got a little old, but I mean the whole soundtrack is that. I mean the whole all the music is that. So, and it was weird. There's that one scene where she's playing the organ at church. She's practicing, and she gets kind of possessed, and the minister, who probably or pastor or whatever, probably lives next door. He's like, this is not the right kind of music to play here. It's an abomination. And,
that's right.
and if just fires her, says if you're you don't have the right kind of connection to this music to be playing in a church, and she's kind of like just wanders off
like what
in a daze, and he's like, yeah, but we could give you therapy or something. He didn't say that exactly.
We'll introduce you to this creepy stalker guy who lives in the boarding house with you.
Yeah. His intentions were not the marrying kind. That guy is, what a sleazeball. But whatever. Yeah, he just wouldn't take no for an answer. It was so creepy. She's obviously not into you, dude. She's not
into you.
And then they do go on a date, and he's kind of an asshole because she's not. She's just sitting there. She's just sitting there. I paid a lot of money for that booze, and
it's a horror movie in more ways than one.
I guess it was kind of a horror movie. It's sort of a supernatural sort of. It wasn't that scary. It was just more creepy.
No, it's more just there's kind of a general creepiness about it.
So I haven't finished it because I'm watching it in small installments, but.
I didn't know that. Okay.
No. I did finish this. There's a different movie that I didn't quite finish yet.
Okay.
Which
we're on to a different movie now.
Unfortunately, is also it's somewhat related, but it's called The First Omen.
Phantasm 10.
No. Well, okay. So I was thinking of rewatching the Omen movies, and not just because Donald Trump is running for president, and maybe there's some connection there. But
because Jared Kushner looks like that guy from the third one who becomes president. Keep going. Sorry.
Well, but and then they had the Omen movies, and I was getting ready to watch the first one, but there's this one called The First Omen, which was made in 2024, I think. No, could that be possible? Is it that new?
There was one not that long ago.
And so it's like a prequel to the Omen movies, and I'm like, what? How? Why? How? So I started watching that, and it's I don't recommend anyone necessarily go out there and watch it, but I'm watching it in installments. I'm making it into a terrible miniseries, but it's creepy and some gory stuff. And what are the connect? I'm trying to. I should have thought about this more before I started talking about it, but it isn't just because I was watching these at the same time as Carnival of Souls and The First Omen. But there's this kind of, I don't know, this disconnect or something, and you don't really know what's going on, or I don't know. But The First Omen gets in a conspiracy about one of the things I probably am going to actually finish it, because I'm trying to figure out how this really would even make sense as a plot, but because it's like this other branch of the Catholic Church that's trying to breed the Antichrist,
the Agnus Dei, or whatever. Sounds like a bad version of the Tom Hanks movies. What's that one?
Oh, the Leonardo da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah. It's like, not that they're great, but this sounds worse.
Yeah. So this one, like, excommunicated, or whatever they call it, priest is, and this new nun, or whatever, future nun, or whatever.
Meet the new nun
at an
same
orphanage.
As the old nun.
And she stumbles upon this conspiracy, and he tells her that this is a different part of the Catholic Church that's trying to, because this is set in the 70s, and people are there's all this there was like riots and different things like that, and cultural upheaval, and people are moving away from the church. So that's and this is as far as I've gotten in the movie, but this branch of the church wants to breed the Antichrist and control him so that they can get people back into the church, kind of out of fear or something. I'm sure it won't. But then, I don't really remember. I think I've watched. If there are, maybe there's more, but I think there was a trilogy of Omen movies, and I don't know how this is going to connect to the other ones, and if I'll even get through them all. But,
so you might have to go back and rewatch the old ones then.
Well, that's what I was starting at. I thought, I'm gonna watch the Omen movies and talk about them on the show, and
I think
maybe
Max
somebody
von Sydow
will be interested.
is in the original one, right?
Or
that's the Exorcist?
No, that's the Exorcist,
okay.
Which I was thinking of rewatching too. There's different versions of that and prequels and whatever of that too.
Different demon movie. Yeah. Okay.
No, Donald Pleasant, I think, is in.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I don't know that.
Kill Bond. Kill him. Oh, whoops.
Yeah. It's alive. No, what's the other one that he was in? The
Halloween. He's in Halloween too.
No, not Donald Pleasant. Oh no, no. This
and
guy.
James Bond.
Shoot, I'm sorry. Not that guy. No, this other actor that probably just recently died. He was in the MASH movie. He played Hawkeye, I think, or.
Oh yeah. Oh, Donald Sutherland.
Thank you. There was a Donald in there.
Poor Donald Sutherland. Yeah, he's great.
He was pleasant.
He was great. He was not pleasant.
Oh God!
I mean, he was not. He didn't play Blofeld with a cat.
Well, if you've gotten through this,
fucked it all up. Sorry.
if you've gotten through this episode, thank you. And if you enjoyed it, you can go to the
Time to Lean. No.
Buymeacoffee.com/
buymeacoffee.com/time to lean.
Sure. And if you have a lot,
or just give us a like somewhere and subscribe to our episode wherever you get your podcasts.
ding, hit that bell. No, we didn't do that.
I'm too busy to figure
No,
that
who's
out.
yeah.
Damn YouTube.
But
Keep
yeah.
going. More
So there.
demons, please.
No, that's enough of that.
Okay, it's Halloween. Brrr.
I guess so. We'll get this out by Halloween. This is our Halloween one.
It's probably our Halloween episode.
I don't know. I don't think I can redo the Time to Lean Halloween song
Again.
Redo part 9.
Yeah.
I'll do the prequel.
Oh, no. That's terrible. Damn it.
Oh, hey, do you want to talk about your Trump gig? No, I'm just kidding.
I can.
No, poor John. He picked up an
Okay,
picked up an extra
I
gig to
need
make
a
some money.
quick break before we do that.
This is a 2-break episode.
Oh.
Okay,
You're
I'll
right.
take one too.
I'll be back in a sec. Yeah. Hi. We're back. Yay.
No.
Okay.
We don't normally record on a Monday.
No, that's the problem.
This is weird. It's a 2-breaker.
Breaker 19.
I'm getting ready to paint the house. Or not the whole house. The living room.
Yes.
The living room. And I got a little ahead of myself because I'm waiting to paint until I can open up the house. Tomorrow should be cooler. But I did a little primer today on some spots and so it wouldn't show through.
Yeah.
And I got some paint fumes, so that's kind of combining with the gin. I don't know. But so poor John, he picked up an extra gig, make a little extra, a few extra bucks. And
I
it
don't
turns
know
out
if
to
this is-
maybe we don't even need to talk about it. It's so sad.
I'll try and be kind of brief about it. So I recently was asked to fill in for somebody at a music gig, and
Wait, let's turn this into for Halloween. Let's turn this into I decided to pick up this gig.
little did I know.
No, that sounds like penthouse letters.
Oh no.
A woman
If
with
only.
a Trump wig. No.
No, so I got asked to do this, but by somebody I've only worked with once in the past or whatever, but like obviously it was a couple days out, so last minute kind of thing.
Sure.
And I had the night free and like, okay, fine.
Could use a couple extra bucks. What the hell?
Always use some bucks and thought, yeah, I'll help them out. Fine. So I show up at the place and it's way out of town, like 50 miles north of the cities or something like that.
Ham Lake.
Just about up there, kind
Oh, wow.
of Cambridge area up there.
Okay.
So I drive up there, fine, and it turned out to be this kind of mega church kind of place.
Yeah.
And I do stuff at churches. That's fine.
Sure. I've been to one.
That
the
can be
Dixieland.
okay.
The Dixieland thing. That was nice.
And this was not. And so it was about as far away from that as you can get. And it was one of the a mega church is the style more than, I mean, they weren't like, I don't think the place held 3,000 people or anything like that, but it was in that kind of like
Exurb Church.
yeah, exurban church wasn't identifiable as like Lutheran or Methodist or Catholic or that stuff. It was just
that
Christ
prosperity
Inc.
prosperity gospel church.
whatever it is. Yeah, prosperity gospel. Yeah.
Hey, Christ will help you make $1 million.
And from this place had some nice equipment, so they had some bucks.
Yeah, they do. And they record them and
Oh yeah, they had like TV level cameras.
oh
in
yeah,
that
there's like
place.
studios and stuff. I've been to one.
They're impressive.
A former friend of mine, or acquaintance. No, he got way
I know
off.
who you're talking about.
Yeah. KC.
It doesn't matter.
But yeah,
Bob.
no.
No.
He got not Bob. This guy was getting
The
strange.
names have been changed.
This guy was getting strange even before. This was a little bit pre-Trump and was just getting a little out there. And he'd attack my friends on Facebook and stuff, and it was getting too weird. So I just had to unfriend him. Acquaintance. But anyway, once I went to his church, and it was one of those deals. It was like it was a TV studio. It was really, really wild, that level. Anyway, sorry, go back.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I show up, and it's...
Hi, I'm John.
Yeah. And the place
Where's the sound man?
Yeah. If only. No. So I go in there. It's a normal kind of whatever. It's like a benefit dinner kind of a thing or fundraising thing, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. They hired some people to play while they eat, and
Yeah.
I've done these before. Who cares?
Yeah.
And so
I've been to one of those gigs.
I kind of I look at some of the material they've got up, and I make the connection when I'm setting up that this is kind of a right wing group.
Yeah.
They are definitely an anti-abortion kind of whatever.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh well, what am I gonna do? So I'll just fine, suck it up, get out of here.
Yeah. Get my check.
And so we play and all that stuff, and I'm getting packed up. And, oh well, we got got food if you want some food and all that. And I'm like, well, okay.
Well, yeah. It's
And
right wing
I
food,
was
but
trying-
I'm still gonna eat it.
It's just generic catered crap. But I was trying to be polite and all that, so I go sit at the table, and then the keynote speaker comes on.
Ooh.
And that's when things kind of took a turn because this gal was just really out there.
Was she blonde?
No.
Oh, weird.
She would not get a gig on Fox.
Did she have those kind of wild Michelle Bachmann eyes?
No, she was
That kind of fake smile thing? Stepford Wives?
she was she was more of a, like, if you didn't know better, you'd think she was kind of a normal middle-aged, everyday person.
All right, so this isn't the stereotype.
No, she was much of a, like, in my youth, horrible things happened to me, and I had abortions, plural, and things bad.
Oh,
and,
it was a
and
testimonial kind of thing.
It was testimonial, but really, she was a professional activist.
Yeah.
I mean, she acted like she was a normal, quote, telling her story thing, but it was really very manipulative and set up pretty cleverly to kind of, turn the screws, so to speak.
Yeah, and it may be just an actor.
Lots of my thought to myself while I was trying to chew through my shoe leather chicken in a mystery sauce was that, wow, what a performance.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And like, okay, yeah, you had a horrible experience and you were born again, and my parents were evil lefties and atheists.
Oh, no.
And then it became a bingo card of super right-wing anti-abortion stuff.
Yeah.
Where she would, and then she had a side topic of how there's no such thing as evolution and all that stuff.
Oh, well, that's good.
That was kind of a bonus segment, but yeah, it was bad, and it was very, very specifically not mentioning any political figures, which I'm sure wasn't there to protect themselves from being a campaign event.
Sure. They're not going to be taxed
But
anyway.
they did name drop abortion doctors and Roe v. Wade decisions and all
Doctors?
sorts. No, they
docked the doctors?
She knew the name of a very, like named a couple of abortion doctors and Planned Parenthood and things like that.
Sure. And here's their address.
It was almost like that, yeah.
Oof.
It was bad. And then finally I just couldn't take it anymore and I snuck out, but
Yeah, it's not.
but I
Ouch. What a soul killer.
It really. I was so mad when I got out of that place because mainly because I didn't know what it was before I got there, and I was more mad at the person who booked me to do it, who did not check with me first. Like, is this the kind of thing you want to do?
No, they just said, "Hey, you're a sucker." No,
well, no, just like it's a gig, like we come play some music, and
this
normally,
isn't just a gig.
And if I know, there's no way, no matter what it paid, I would have done it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in this quintet.
You live and learn. I ask questions, I guess.
I'm in this quintet, and we're practicing songs to perform in somewhere at some point. And I think the other four are probably more religious conservative than I am. I don't know for sure all of them, but 3 of them in their family, I shouldn't assume that they're all the same political leanings. But one person mentioned we could do the national anthem for a gig at some Republican picnic thing, fundraiser thing, and I said, well, it kind of depends on who's there. That's all I said. I'm the weird dark horse in this group, but they're all great people, very nice and friendly and generous and that.
Oh, the people at this thing were very friendly too, Phil.
That's how they suck you in.
Go on.
No, but well, when you were talking about this, I was thinking I went through a Kafka phase, and the way I said that made it sound like I was, hey, I went through a Kafka phase. But I'm so intelligent. Man. I'm so intelligent. But there was I think it was one of his stories called The Hunger Artist. And I don't know. So I think the idea is this person starves to make money or something. But I don't know if this parallels with this woman who maybe turned in her pain into making money. And maybe her story, none of it's
well,
true.
she might be completely a believer about this. I mean, whatever.
No. I believe she's a believer, but how much of the story is,
Yeah, it was almost too quote good in that way. But yeah, keep going.
These I don't know, these left-wing parents. I mean, how did you survive?
Yeah, I don't know. That's terrible. I haven't found the light yet, I guess.
Our parents were not hippies by any means, but we weren't completely feral. We were kind of feral.
No, I just loved how she mentioned that her dad was an atheist.
Yeah.
And there were all these gasps in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you're eating this rubbery chicken.
Rubber chicken, man.
Rubber chicken. Chicken never does well in these things. I don't know what it's always overcooked.
The food was awful. That was kind of the insult to injury.
Yeah. And this wasn't a place where you got like free old fashions or something.
Oh, no. I wish. Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, the following night I played a wedding by these two men who were really very generous, and lots of great food and a little too much booze. It was a good antidote to the.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Restored my faith in humanity.
Well, I don't want to stereotype, but
well,
I think liberals are better with the food.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, unless you're talking about certain thing like that's just trashy in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they.
Now maybe some barbecue. Maybe you could get into.
Yeah, there are definitely loopholes. Like barbecue is, by its kind of nature, is kind of redneck. Although, really, black people kind of came up with it. So.
Kind of.
Yeah, no, they did.
They did.
There you go.
Well, it's like Elvis. Hey, this music's pretty good. I'm going to make a bunch of money. But then again, some of those folks were like, hey, now people are coming back to find the source of this, and now they become, or Eric Clapton, and he would always say, yeah, but these are the real guys. He'd always. So I'm not trying to excuse appropriation or whatever, but I don't know.
There's a topic.
No, I don't want to get into that.
So yeah, that's.
So okay,
I guess
Halloween,
if I learned anything, that
do your research.
If I don't know what it is, I should ask.
Well, you're you're a good guy and you're nice and you're like, maybe you could use a little more money, but you're like, yeah, I'll help this guy and film the gig for him.
No, exactly. And
that was like, whoops. So this one time it kind of bit you in the nards.
Exactly. Menards. I'm waiting for an 11% rebate check. Do you know where that is, Phil?
P.O. Box
in Elk Mound, Wisconsin.
437 or whatever. I should have it memorized. Jody gives me so much crap about that. No, not really, but I'm going to get, and then I spend the money on candy or something.
Yeah, well,
in the Tim Walls aisle.
They have the weird food aisles. Yeah. Get your Rocky Rococo pizza sauce.
Maybe someday your favorite, the unfrosted
blueberry to Pop-Tarts, the only place you can get them.
Maybe episode 97 we'll record at the weird food aisle in Menards.
Yeah, you're onto something there. And then we can go up the big escalator.
Oh, well, you want to go to that one? Yeah, the cart escalator. Well, there's plenty of Menards.
No, but that have the big cart escalator with the piano at the top.
That's the only one I know of. Oh, and the piano's right there for the song. And
it's always out of tune.
No, that's perfect though for the song.
Okay, I think we might have an idea.
Okay, so if you know anybody that works at Menards that could help us get this gig, we want to record our next episode at Menards.
I'm sure they wouldn't mind at all.
Drop it in the comments. Well, if somebody knows somebody.
That's true.
They'll be a sponsor.
Yay.
And we'll have catered by Taco John's.
Well.
No, we'll be in the weird food aisle. We'll be fine.
That's right. No, we'll get your voice recorder. We'll record do a field recording there, kind of like we did at South Middle School.
Yeah. Well, we could do a little we could do a if we can't swing this with the piano player and all that, we'll do a covert one.
Okay.
All right.
Here's the song. We're both sidekicks traveling down the trail. The heroes, they both up and went, chasing each other's tails. We're a couple of sidekicks, no one telling us what to do. I don't know where I'm going, so I'll travel with you. My hero wore a mask and a big black hat. He could shoot a squirrel at 50 feet. What do you think about that? Well, my hero was a quick draw shooter when he wasn't on the drink. When he caught sight of your masked hero, he was in the pink. We're both sidekicks traveling down the trail. No heroes telling us what to do, so I'll just follow you. My hero hid his identity, yes, this much is true. But he was hiding something else and stuck to your hero like glue. Well, my hero had a steady hand when he wasn't on the sauce. But I found out he wasn't a straight shooter when our heroes' paths they crossed. We're both sidekicks traveling down the trail. No heroes telling us where to go, so I'll just follow you. No, I'll just follow you. You first. You first. You first. You first. No, you first, I insist. You first. No, you first. Forget it. I'll just follow you. Well, where do we go now? I hear the whiskey's mighty fine. Here down the line. Oh yeah? Sounds good to me. I'm parched. The dust in my mouth is covered with dust. My lips are cracked like the desert sand. I haven't had a drink in hours. Who writes this shit? I don't know. Where's that horse? I heard it back there somewhere. Damn it. We're riding the horse. We're riding.